Hello everyone, welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa, and I'm here to do a very quick review of Ready to Love Season 6, Episode 3. This episode was particularly lackluster. That is my absolutely favorite word. But it wasn't giving. It was a little bit boring, to be honest with you. Like, there was not as many superb moments, not so many funny moments, not so many dramatic moments. It was just one of those boring episodes. So basically, in this particular episode, the men had the power to eliminate a woman. And Samson was talking about one of the problems in Miami is finding a woman that has more than just a nice body, because a lot of women have nice bodies. So essentially, he wants quality as opposed to just somebody that looks good on the exterior. He wants depth, and we're gonna see if he finds that in on this particular show. But the guys also had to choose a woman that they wouldn't normally go out with on a date. And the first person that went out on a date, according to how the show decided to edit it, is LJ decided to go on a date with Looney. Looney is the one that had C19 that couldn't be on last week's episode. And according to what she says, and it also surprised me because I felt like a lot of guys seemed interested in Looney in the beginning. LJ was the only person that asked her for her number, and he was the only person that showed interest in her when she was sick. So that speaks a lot to the quality of men on the show in this particular season. It doesn't seem, I'm not getting the fire from the men. I'm not getting much from the women either. I just feel like the group of contestants are not working for me. Something is not happening. It's not igniting any type of flame. I don't see anything. So we find out that, of course, Looney and LJ has had chemistry for a while. They've spoken. They have had really good conversations. We also learned that they have something in common, in that Looney mentioned her mom was her only family and her mom passed. And that's really sad, to think that the only family member you have is no longer around. So you're really alone. Like, I cannot even imagine that sense of loneliness she must feel. And then he has his family in the Caribbean. We all know, if you're from the Caribbean, we mostly migrate to two parts of the world. Well, three. We will either go to Canada, because Caribbean people love Canada, New York, particularly in America, or Florida, or England. We love to go to these three places. I don't know why. These three places have a hold on Caribbean people. And most of the time, one person will go, or maybe two people will go, and then they will settle themselves and send for the people in the islands. Or what they love to do is, around Christmas time, send you barrels. The barrels have clothes, toiletries, everything in it. So that's the Caribbean kind of culture, so to speak. But anyways, they also bonded on the fact that they don't really have their family for support, and they're really just doing it by themselves. And that kind of, I guess, would hopefully bring them together later on in the show. I like Looney. I think she's cool. Let's see how that relationship formulates. I think Looney also went on another situation with Justice. Now, I'm not feeling Justice. I feel like Justice is not even feeling the group of women. I just don't see the interest there with him. Like, I just feel like he's not interested in this group of women. And the ones that were so caught up on Justice, I haven't heard anybody really fondle over, not fondle, but stress over him these most recent episodes, so I don't know. But he went out with Looney. I don't even really recall most of their conversation. I have to go back and look. Just based on the way that Justice was like, oh, he was the one to reacclimate her into the group, I'm thinking he was the first man she met after coming back, but the way it's edited, it's making you feel as if it was LJ. But they spoke about the process. He spoke about all the guys being interested in her. As I told you guys before, a lot of them showed interest in Looney in the beginning, but I don't get the vibe that he's too interested in her. Like, I actually don't know who Justice is really interested in at the moment. In the men's lounge, he did say that he was interested in Looney, but I don't get the vibe from him. It's like you're saying one thing, but the vibe I get watching the show is like completely different. I don't think he's interested in any of the women, to be honest with you, and I just feel like he's going through the motions, but it is what it is. Then we had Cherise and Samson went on a little date. Now, the assignment was to go on dates with people you don't normally go on a date with, but I don't think they really followed through with that, because LJ actually likes Looney, and it looks like somebody's actually would go out with outside of the show. So there's that. And then we have Cherise and Samson, and then they seem like they had a cool type of date. And although he did mention that in the beginning she gave him a bit of attitude, I don't know why. Maybe she wasn't interested in him, I guess. But you come on a show to date multiple people. Why close yourself off to people? That makes no sense. So of course he had a bad taste in his mouth from that experience, but still gave her a chance. They went on a date. She opened up some more. She was, I guess, more cordial. She was nicer. She gave him the eye contact he wanted, and I guess all was well. What I do think with Cherise is that we have to remember that her ace is no longer here. That was Devin. He was eliminated. So now, maybe at that moment when he first encountered her, she felt like, I don't need you, and I don't have to show interest in you because I have someone I'm already interested in, right? But now that that person is gone, she kind of has to reassess and come at the situation in a different way. Now, one thing I do like about Cherise is she's able to adjust to any type of situation, inconvenience, hold up, any stumble in the road. She's able to readjust and adjust herself accordingly, and that's why she's still there, in my opinion. So they had a good date. They spoke about several different. Samson spoke about his dad that passed away, how he was Persian, how his mom was black. Spoke about his grandmother. Of course, Cherie speaks about her mom, and they kind of talk and bond, and they say everything seems easy and it flows and so on, even to the point where Samson at the men's lounge completely changed his perception of Miss Cherise. So I suppose she won him over. And then we have Shakira and Alonso. Now, Shakira stated she's really interested in Alonso. However, she wasn't quite sure how his bachelor lifestyle kind of would fit into her single parent lifestyle. She, because of her son, is not able to just move quickly and easily and flexibly like he could. But he stated that, of course, he is able and willing to bend and whatever the case may be, because he understands that she does have a son. He has a child, so he knows that the child comes first in a certain extent, and he completely is for that. So I like the way that he was very understanding of the situation. Do I believe he was interested in Shakira off the bat? I don't. Because I feel like if a man is interested in a woman, he does not hesitate to act. So he would be working on locking her down, whether it be by getting her call information, calling her every day, checking up on her consistently. Like, when a man is interested in a woman, he knows exactly what he is supposed to do. He doesn't have to be told, call me. He doesn't have to be told, why haven't you asked me for my number? You know what I mean? He just automatically is gonna do what is necessary to lock you down, and that is what he hasn't done with Shakira. But he stated that it was because he was trying to see like more of her personality and stuff like that before he took the next move and stuff like that. So I'm gonna see if, now that he's gotten her number, if he's actually going to be proactive and call her. Because too many times on this show, the men don't seem to be very interested in the women, and it almost seems like they're just going with the motions. You're just finishing the show at that point, you know. And that's what I'm getting from a lot of the men specifically. So Mike in this particular episode kind of fought with 3 women on 3 different occasions. He fought with Cherise about her calling his children a red flag. Not a red flag, but more so baggage. Now, yes, baggage has a negative connotation, but I also take it to mean that the person is coming into a potentially new relationship with added responsibilities. I don't necessarily see it as a negative thing. So when she called his children baggage, I did not see it as a negative thing. I saw it as, your children are added responsibility that you're gonna be bringing into our relationship if we decide to make it work. And that is exactly what is and will be the case. He taking it offensively. I do understand that if a man were to call a woman's children baggage, it would be taken negatively just because of the negative association with men and misogynistic ways, and you know, that whole red pill community thing kind of left this negative taste in a lot of women's mouths. So I do agree that men have to be more careful what they say to women, because it will be taken more seriously than if a woman were to say it. Sorry. But I completely understood what she said, but I don't fault him for taking it negatively, because he has a right to do so. But I also feel like she has a right to state what standard she has for herself and what she's willing to accept and not willing to accept. Perhaps the way she communicated it was not with the best. It wasn't tactful. Like, it clearly sounds like she did not or wasn't willing to at least empathize with his situation a bit more. Because if you're able to emphasize, then you would adjust your way of communicating with people accordingly. And it doesn't seem like Cherise is one to really mince her words or try to nice up what she's trying to tell to people. At some point, I'm not sure if it's Mike or Swayze, but they call women island girls. He basically was trying to say that island girls are women that are like, comes up. I think it was somebody that Swayze speaking to Kadeen or Kadian. I can never say this woman's name. So when he was speaking to her, like, Kadian comes across very tough. I understand where the men are coming from, because she's very cut and dry. Like, this is what it is. This is a process. I'm gonna ask as many questions as possible. I'm not gonna do the whole cutesy thing. is you A or sorry, are you A or are you B? Do you have this or do you have that? She's just very cut and dry. And we do know that the women that do these interrogative things, they don't tend to last on the show. So, and it proves it this episode because she almost got sent home because she just comes across as very blunt and she doesn't give the men room to play with her. And I think that's what it is. Men like to know that they can play with a woman if they want to. And when you don't give them that string to play with you, sometimes they take it as you're being tough, you're being difficult, you're too strong, you're too this and you're too that. And that is what Kadeen is getting. Now, in reference to island girls, because I'm an island girl, and yes, in the Caribbean we're very, very blunt, very blunt. It is just a situation where we never feel the need to nice up our words. Like whatever it is that we feel we need to say, we just say it basically. And I guess that's what he meant. And if that's the case, then it is true in a sense. Okay? Now, not all Caribbean women are the same, but a lot of us are very blunt and we say what we feel. And we don't flower up our sentences. Now, we have Walter with Tranica, and I felt as if their communication was quite good. They clearly have like a physical chemistry. She is very bountiful, very curvy. She's blessed in all aspects, and he's clearly attracted to that. And based on the way he spoke, he loves their conversation as well. So I'm going to be specifically looking at how their relationship forms. She stated that she wanted like something of a religious leader or something of that sense. She said she wanted to be led religiously or something. Like for her, it's not just physical, even though the physical is there. She wants more, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to give her the other two things that she wants. Yes, the physical aspect is there, but I'm not sure about the other aspects of it. So we're gonna have to see, and he states he has relationships with Jamala, Shranika, and somebody else. I think it was Kayla. So we're gonna see how that goes. There's a potential there for a love triangle, and we all know that never ends well. So we're gonna see how that goes. So let's get back to Mike. So Mike had little arguments. The first argument I believe he had was with Cherise calling his children baggage. Then he had a disagreement with April because April felt like she wanted him to explain why he's not attracted to her essentially, or why he doesn't really want to give her a chance. I think that's what it was. And his way to, I guess, maneuver the situation was just to sit there and listen, I guess, and not really contribute much to what she was asking him. Now, April also kind of interrupted him and Kayla's situation, which is, I mean, it happens, but he disagreed with her on a couple of things. And I believe with Mike, he should take more initiative to say what he thinks and just basically communicate in that moment that he's speaking with the women. Like a lot of the time, the audience gets more of the person's feelings as opposed to the person they're on the date with at that moment. And I feel like that's not fair to the process, and it's not fair to the person that you're potentially trying to build something with. So I think with Mike, he has issues with communicating. Yeah, I mean, he looks good for these women. I think I don't find him particularly attractive, A lot of women like looking at body and height and skin color and teeth, but I don't find him attractive. Like, this is the second time I'm saying this. From afar, he looks good, but when you see his face, it's an automatic turn off. To me, he ugly. To me, he ugly. Okay? Now, he had the final argument with Miss K. Dean, because K. Dean felt as if he was being closed off and wasn't opening himself up to, her. Alright, and she has a right to feel that way. And he felt as if it was her that was that way. Now, I believe both of them have certain levels of guardedness about themselves. Kadeen comes across a little bit, I don't want to use the word that I'm thinking, but she comes across a little bit defensive. Like she have her guards up while she's peeking through the window and asking them questions through the little crack in the window. It's kind of difficult to get to know somebody in that sense. And the interrogations come across just that way, like an interrogation. It doesn't come across like a genuine interest, and I feel like that's why a lot of the men don't quite kind of mesh with her. And then we have Mike, who states that he doesn't particularly like Kadeen because of that same defensiveness that she kind of, an interrogativeness that she brings into a conversation. It doesn't flow. It just seems as if you're being questioned. And I don't think men like being questioned. So they both argued back and forth about who was the most guarded and who was the most defensive and who was the most whatever. But in essence, it wasn't a good conversation. It was very combative. Now, then let's move on to, I believe this is the final bit of dates. Trusting that I don't remember seeing Jamala in this episode, but I don't think she was in this episode. But we had Swayze. So Swayze, they went on this group date thing, and he was speaking to, I think the group date was some type of acrobatic thing they were doing, and he spoke with Kadeen. It seemed as if that's the only person Kadeen seems to let down her guard with a little bit. It's with Swayze. And then we have Swayze was speaking. Oh, I forgot Kayla was speaking to Mike when April interrupted them. Do I think Kayla and Mike make a good match? I don't. For the way Kayla is so opinionated, I don't think that would mesh well with Mike. Mike looks like a person that wants his partner to be on the quiet side and to allow him to do whatever masculine role and whatever thing he wants to do. It does not seem that like Kayla will give him that satisfaction. So in that sense, I don't think that they're gonna be a very good match. So to me, it's like them talking and whatever comes from that, she's attractive, so there will be this physical interest, but as far as whether the relationship would work, I just don't see it. I feel like him and Brandy have probably a better fit, because he says he has butterflies for Brandy or whatever this feeling he has for her. So I want to watch this really closely and see how that works. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think in the comment section about this particular episode. What do you think about Mike literally arguing with 3 women in the same episode? What do you think about Charisse calling Mike's children baggage? What do you think about Kadeen? Do you feel like she's too strong, or do you feel like these men want a woman to play with and she's not allowing them to play with her? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate all of you. See you next time. Bye bye. Hello, you guys. I completely forgot to mention who got eliminated. But if you saw the episode, we know who got eliminated. It was April. It was between April and Kadeen. I already let you guys know that men don't like her defensiveness and her interrogative skills. They feel as if she's not gonna be one they can play with. I think that is the biggest situation there. And however, she still got the opportunity to stay. For a while there, I wasn't sure who they would send home. April reminds me so much of AP, and so with that I was like, she's probably gonna be sent home, because we know AP was sent home relatively early as well. And guess what? She was sent home. Why? It's because we know Mike wasn't that interested in her. I don't think any of the men were that interested in her. She's one of the older women of this cast, her and Cherise, I believe. And so I don't think any of these men are interested in the much older women. I just don't think this cast or group of men are interested in these that much of an older woman, because they want children. But the problem is, this show doesn't cater to 20-year-olds. This show is for people 30 and up. And you'd find that the best way a man could get a child is for him to date younger. And I think people like Cherise and April, men are not gonna want to be interested in that, because they seem to be very much past that child rearing stage in their lives. But we have April gone, because the men didn't really find her, I suppose, as interesting. I don't know what happened with her and Justice. I guess it fizzled out, because she was so enamored with him. And one thing I noticed with April is that although she says she doesn't push things and whatever, I did find that she was pushy with Justice. Maybe not verbally to him, but within her own self, she was pushing her own ideas and thoughts onto him and making him seem more interesting than he actually was. And then we have which other guy was she? She wasn't really interested in any of the other guys. But yes, she got sent home, unfortunately, and now we have Kadeen. Kadeen doesn't really seem like she was or is interested in really changing her approach. So if she doesn't, she will definitely be the next woman sent home. But anyways, you guys, let me know what you think. Who do you think is gonna be sent home next week? Because it's gonna be a man's opportunity to be sent home. Bye bye.